We've got one more game to go, everybody, and it is obviously going to be KOVA versus Singularity. Singularity in a good spot in their group will want to continue and solidify their position in Group A. Whereas KOVA, they are in a similar situation to some of our bottom teams. They are staring down that potential of no qualification. So I think KOVA need to pull their bootstraps up and get into this game and give it the best shot possible, because they've been on a rough spree recently, very similar to some of our other teams. Only one win in the last 5 games played. Not the best look for KOVA in the world. But however, obviously on the other side, Singularity are doing extremely well right now, and obviously we want to continue that form to ensure that Group A is looking more and more solidified in that top 3 spot.
Yeah, a lot of pressure, I feel, on both these teams to actually pull out a win in a way, because I think for Team Singularity, the pressure a bit, I suppose, was peeled off of them when Granite dropped their game earlier, but you still want to try and keep the gap as large as possible, and you want to try and contest. You know, it looks nice on your record, second, first in the group if possible. But for KOVA in particular, Godsent looked to be a little bit better recently. We heard from Yusa, he said, you know, we're starting to click a bit, and whilst, you know, it's too late in the split realistically for them to make a playoff run, that last spot is still the spot which gets you relegation. So you need to try and get wins when and where you can to avoid that situation. And right now they're tied. This is their game in hand. If they pick it up, then they're still at least 1 win ahead of Godsent.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, I think like the bottom of the table teams that we have is generally like in an ERL. A lot of the players have been shuffled around. Teams take at least, you know, more than half the season to figure out how they want to play, Are they playing the same style? Should they swap the style? And who should swap the style? So it's much more complicated in an ERL rather than it is in NLC when the team is established for, you know, a whole split, no role swaps. You know, and roster changes in, right? So I kind of feel for KOVA, because I feel like individually, every single one of them is really good at the role, but it feels like when it comes together, I just can't put my finger on what is going wrong. I just feel like the team in general is just not meshed together properly, like their play styles. Whilst if I look at Singularity, they know exactly how they want to play. They kept the exact same roster, and it's just looking better this season.
Yeah, and for me, when it comes to SNG, I think there's a lot of reliable players that you can always look towards and say, okay, if we give this guy resources, he'll probably carry. And obviously, you know, there's been a lot, speak particularly around Fury, but it's honestly anyone. Noise had his days. Dragdar is still very, very capable. Wazer, I think, has been the only person that's not had like a crazy standout performance this split so far, but he still does his job. And that's all he really needs to do when he's got such a strong roster around him too. But for KOVA, like you say, there's loads of, you know, sometimes identity issues, sure. But I think for KOVA, you know, you've got an aggressive jungler in Outlandish. You've got 2 carries from Simply and Snurmy that do thrive in team fights when they're given the space. And that's why I want to try and see KOVA do. I want to, you know, see Outlandish continue a sort of aggressive spree of junglers and try and set up his carries for the later stages. Not a bad rotation of champions if you want to sort of do that when you're talking about the top side as well. When you've got that set and you've got that Viego, you set yourselves up for success on the top side through skirmishing.
There is also the Diana pick that is still available. I think that hasn't obviously been banned away. That is something that Outlandish will play, and I don't envision that Singularity will be taking Diana in a laning spot here with the Rumble locked in, so Outlandish probably has that, and I think unless you want to see that banned, KOVA may prioritize it on that next pickup, but the Varus comes in super early here from Singularity, securing that for Dragda.
It's so strong with Equalizer going down, a lot of poke coming down for the Varus. I wouldn't be surprised if they took the Thresh here to make sure that the Varus is staying relatively safe versus a Viego and a set that if they actually do make your way on you, you're pretty much dead. They prioritize their comp mostly, trying to focus on that poke. I would have liked to see the Thresh here since there's a lot more poke champions that you can put with the Singularity comp, but they want to go for lane domination as well. Melee into range works pretty well. The Diana would be a perfect fit for KOVA right here. We've seen what the Diana plus set combo can do, and they are lacking a lot of AP at this point.
Yeah, the Nautilus pick also signals to me that we're likely seeing Outlandish on this Viego. Otherwise, I feel like they wouldn't have locked to support her and you would have gone for your jungler just to make sure it doesn't get pinched. So that's at least my read. I think now KOVA, even though you've got the Nautilus, you probably should still ban away the Thresh. I think it's still too potent of a combination to give over. We'll see if they feel that way because they obviously have the preemptive Nautilus pick locked in, but I think you just remove away the two like supports that can keep this Varus alive. Next ban for them should probably be Tahm Kench, and then that should be the ban phase done for them. On the Singularity side of things, you try and remove away any AD carries that can answer out the Varus. Sometimes Ezreal can play sort of safe enough that it makes it very obnoxious, and then there's other AD carries that Snurmy plays, like the Jinx and occasionally Kai'Sa.
I wouldn't be surprised if we even saw like a Leona instead of a Tahm Kench, because Tahm Kench will make the composition quite a bit passive, and then you would need engage on your top side, which I wouldn't necessarily like too much for Wazer here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they locked in something like a Leona to potentially give the engage to Team Singularity, and then all the skills to land, the equalizer lands on top of Solar Flare. It could mean a lot of trouble. Also keeps a lot of these melee champions at bay that KOVA have drafted for themselves. Interesting.
I think the Braum ban also makes sense. Same vein as sort of the Tahm Kench too. We'll see if Prospect still wants to play it. But for now, SNG actually remove away the strong AD carry and Kalista, and they get the read. They feel like maybe it might not go to Outlandish to Viego, so they're still going to remove away the Diana. So just sort of protective ban there. And now loads of options still. The hyper carries if they want it. The Ezreal is still there if they want to try and sort of match the poke and also get some disengage off of that equalizer too. It's really up to KOVA on what path exactly they want to take. As timer ticks, it's going to be Sivir again. 2 Sivirs back to back. I think it's okay when you're talking about matching into the Varus. You can obviously use the spell shield to deal with the Chains of Corruption, and again, you've got 3 mini champions which you're facilitating and speeding up.
Jamada, thank you for staying professional. Honestly,
it's okay.
I cannot.
We work with idiots. It's okay. I know. Yeah.
Perfect.
He's ascending. I've got my production chat down here, and that's a great gif. Very old one. I don't think many people would get Star Trek references these days. But hey.
Trouble was trying to work out when my head has turned into like actual light.
A light bulb.
It's because like I am here and my light bulb's just here. So I'm like stood directly under my light bulb. But there we go. There's the Tahm Kench. As you correctly predicted, Jamada, Tahm Kench comes through for Prosper here. So anything to keep that Varus safe. And we'll see Wazor on his Gragas. Whether he goes AP, I just don't know. But it is a classic for Wazor. So he's going to... Dogs. KOVA, final pickup on R5. We'll see what they choose to round this comp out with. It will give us a bit of a tell where this Viego is going, of course, as well.
They need some AP, like they desperately need some AP. Yep. I would be very surprised if that wasn't something like a Diana or something else that will pivot into the mid lane and put Outlandish. Oh!
Zach.
I love that. You've got 2 of the main 3, actually, all 3 of the carries from Team Singularity, absolutely mobile. Only 1 Devour available for 1 of the 3, and the Zac has so much access into the backline. Then he can bring the set together with the Viego and all the speed ups coming from Snurmy Sivir. I just really, really like. I've been an advocate of like the Zac pick for a long time now, at least 2 patches after the Hecarim Graves meta died down, and I'm just really happy to see it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Zac too. We've seen Outlandish pull it out before, and it's one of the 2 wins that they secured was through this Zac pick. I do have some of my early concerns when I look at some of the lane matchups, and I try to consider the lane priority and the fact that Noi can definitely get very aggressive in this jungle matchup. Rumble shouldn't be afraid of something like a Zac. And the Gragas is there. If Gragas is ever on top of the stacks, he can always interrupt the elastic slingshot. So that's the only thing that Outlandish really has to play around when it comes to those team fights. But other than that, like you say, free access to the backline is literally going to be it. If Wazor's never on point or if he's not there, they're going to be in trouble.
I haven't seen a Zac game in ages, so I'm really excited to catch this one. Final game of the night then, same casters as always, Hit Brain and Orcs, take it away.
Very much as we're getting ready to go into our final game. It's been a while since we've seen a Zac. Obviously, not the greatest early ganker, kind of wants to get a couple of levels into that elastic slingshot so he can get the range. Overall, though, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this comp.
Yeah, so Zac typically level 5 kind of comes online. You have enough points in your E that you can start to make effective ganks. But yeah, not as much early pressure as the Rumble activated super early. I think KOVA's comp is a decent answer. If the enemy team is going all these poke-heavy champions, you need to engage on them. You can't let them sit around and sort of apply that pressure. The problem is you look at the tools that Singularity have to disengage. They have the ult from Varus, the Equalizer, the Gragas and the Tahm Kench. These are all going to make your job very difficult. So I like that KOVA have a ton of engage tools to kind of find their way in, but I'm not sure it's going to be that simple. And I'm also concerned about getting to those team fight points, because I feel like the Varus in the bot lane going to be a good lane into the Sivir. You should have priority mid lane with the Jace into the Viego, and that really allows Nolty to run away with the game. We've seen kind of what happens when a jungler has priority in these lanes. We saw Aesthetic do it earlier today. So, you know, if KOVA can survive the early pressure, definitely have an option when it comes to team fights, but that's a big if.
Well, we're on to the Rift for our 5th and final game of the day.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
That's an interesting MasterCard Nexus insight, actually. Crossfair's Bard pick was the first of the NLC summer.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
He has 4 wins and 1 loss on the Bard.
Yeah,
He's playing the Catfish today, but it's a cool fact.
Wait till you hear about Nolty's Yuumi, because Nolty lost his mind a little bit and went on a Yuumi streak in solo queue. Not jungle, support, but still.
Okay, thank God it wasn't jungle.
You wonder what happens to a man's mind to put him through that, or he goes on a Yuumi streak in solo
What was his
queue.
win rate?
I think it was pretty solid overall, but still, you know, it's not worth it. Actually, you know, speaking of Yuumi, you know, Yuumi top is now a thing.
What? How?
So essentially, because you have your own heal to give you a ton of sustain, you just kind of like farm and chill in lane, and there's very little. A lot of top laners don't really have enough damage just to kill you in a 1v1 as long as you're keeping it at bay. Kind of similar to how enchanters do. And then you hit like level 6 and you just leave top lane alone and you go set a new jungler.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel
so bad
that's
for
more
Riot.
of a breakdown. I actually think that's more of like something has gone horribly wrong with you if you decided to go for that.
I feel like Riot makes this game, right? And they're like, oh, look at all these fun things people can do. And people are like, let's play Yuumi top. And they're like, what is my creation? What have I done?
Well, there was that the guy who made Callista, or one of the guys involved in the Callista design, said he thought they were going to start to see Callista top lane when she came out. They thought she could be a top laner. She was obviously designed to be an AD carry, but they were like, Skarner Callista top lane, like this is gonna be a thing. I mean, and I think it was like years later when it finally actually got played in the top lane. But like, yeah, when it first came out, they genuinely thought Skarner Callista was gonna be like a really strong duo in the top lane, or like top side duo.
I mean, Skarner, we did see like a little bit of that. I'm pretty sure. I remember it was in NA when Huni and Reignover were on the same team. I can't remember who was their teammate, but I remember them talking about how they were playing Callista top, and like. They would win lane like constantly and stuff. It's like playing around it. But then
it's a stupid thing, yeah.
They would lose when they got to level 6 because they didn't understand how Callista ult worked. Like, you know, that was a pretty funny moment. I can't remember who was talking about it. I think it might have been like Pobelt or something. I actually remember a moment, right? This is a little throwback when I was playing bot lane with Inax on XL. And there was a time when we were playing bot lane 2v2, right? And we were fighting, and I tried to, I wanted to Callista ult the enemy AD carry, but the support was blocking me, right? So I ended up just like hitting the support and backing away. And Inax was like, why didn't you hit the AD carry? And I'm like, I couldn't, the support was in the way. And he's like, wait, it's not targeted? And I was like, bro, come on. What? Yeah, that whole time, this was not when Callista was new champion. He thought that the ult was targeted. And he thought that, like, I just misclicked on the support. And I was
oh, no.
That happens, you know. Everyone has a little thing that they didn't know that they learn. One for me was I didn't know. I mean, I know now, but like when I was playing, I didn't know that Ninja Tabby doesn't affect on-hit effects at all. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, so pretty wasted against on-hit effects. So I didn't know that. And then Axe asked me, should I go Ninja Tabby and Merc Treads here? And I'm like, Ninja Tabby, because Kog'Maw's doing a ton of damage. He's like, bro, it doesn't work on on-hit. I was like, nah, yes it does. Yes it does. And then I went on the wiki and I was like, okay, we're even for the Callista one. You know?
Yeah, exactly. You're just learning off each other.
The teaching opportunity. Speaking of teaching, time to teach you all about a bit of League of Legends, explain what's happened in the city game. Very little. There's been a bit of farming.
Back to Ninja Tabby.
Yeah, there's been a bit of farming from both sides. Nolty's done some stuff. Yeah. What have you got one of those, Jake? Like something you still learn and you're like, damn.
I learned recently that it with the Herald, it's more auto attacks. The more you auto attack it, that's how quick the eye opens up. I learned that very recently, and I think it was Gulborg I told that to, or Jamada, and they didn't know about that either. They thought it was just the more people. I know I can't remember if it's more people. Oh, I can't remember how it works now. It's either more people hitting it or more auto attacks, and I can't remember which one. I think it's the amount of auto attacks it takes. Anyway, potential gank getting set up in the top lane, as I forget how this game works.
This is a hard one, actually. If Wazor's good with his body slam, he should never get engaged on by a Zac. That's kind of the value of the Gragas in this situation. You can just permanently block engages. That misses. That gets blocked.
Oh,
there we go. You good?
What? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you picked the Gragas. Probably not the best lane to try and find a gank in, but realistically, the only one that was really accessible at the time. But Wazor is hard chilling.
It's more auto attacks that opens the eyes. I did teach Jamada that, but he reminded me because he's smart and he remembers information that he's taught. Simply is cooked for first blood. Nulty, I mean, a couple of harpoons and a flame splitter, really.
I mean, that's kind of the difference between like a Zac and a Rumble. Zac can like jump on you from a long distance. You can TC, he can knock you up, you know. Rumble can just buy Hextech Alternator and kill you in like 2 seconds. So a bit of a difference. Yeah, we're going to replay. Obviously, Tui missed the face breaker. And then, I mean, just look at this damage. This is Hextech Alternator. It's so broken. It might have extra damage. And obviously the Shock Blast came in too, but still just not much you can do in that situation. And Nulty getting off to a strong start. You can see already, thanks to the extra clear speed of Rumble, he has built up a pretty substantial lead. So we're kind of seeing what we were talking about, that the early game is favored towards Singularity. And yes, KOVA have a strong team fight. This is something they've relied on in their spring split to find success, is their team fighting. But you have to get to the point where you can really opt into those. You know, if you're so far behind by the time team fights are starting to kick in, it doesn't matter how good your comp is.
I mean, we saw that earlier today. I think it was the first comp of the day, Granite versus Godsend. We thought there's like so many power picks. We're like, this is a great team, but they just fell behind early and just weren't able to execute on what their team wanted to do.
Yep. Early game. You know what's the thing with the early game? You know why it's so OP? Because every game has an early game.
True.
Yeah.
Not every game has a late game.
True. Spitting facts here. But yeah, so Nulty gonna try and get some vision up in the bot side jungle. We do see at this point Sivers get a bit more priority in the lane, able to contest waves. But still seeing that mid lane priority in favor of Fury right now. But Nulty's still gonna take that window to stop this dragon in. There is vision in the area. They should have an idea that he's doing this, but I just don't think they're in a position to contest it. This is a level 6 Rumble already, and currently Outlandish still level 5, so I don't think he can really do anything.
No. We have a bit more time to talk facts. Did you know the early Spectator in League of Legends was an invisible Teemo? You couldn't hit it, you couldn't do damage to it, but it was just an invisible Teemo that stood on each fountain.
I remember that. It's like how loads of stuff used to be coded as minions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so weird. I guess you kind of just like, when you're designing a game, just like, if it works, it works, you know?
Honestly, this game's had, it's had some iterations. Do you remember Poppy used to be able to headbutt the Baron out of the pit?
Yeah.
It was like, I think it was a bug, but she could literally headbutt the Baron out of the pit and it wouldn't reset. And you could just slowly work it towards the enemy base and it would rip through towers.
Reintroduce that, honestly. Stop the Anivia gamers. Just do that. You see Fury actually, so he's pushed a wave in here, simply kind of in a little bit of trouble, and I don't think they're going to try a dive or anything, but this really puts Outlandish in a bit of a rough spot. You see Nulty takes that Raptor camp, he's now going to move towards Scuttle, and it's like, you can jump on him, but I don't think you win that.
No, I don't think you do. As the equalizer's laid down, Outlandish flashes in, actually finds a nice little turnaround, as that's going to be the blobs popped, and they are looking for the kill. Fury has to jump away simply.
One shot blast. Oh, it's
trying
blocked.
to find it as they can't find that shot blast, and it's going to be a double kill for Simply. KOVA.
Yeah.
That you can jump on him.
Simple miscalculation. I forgot about one key fact. Viego is just broken, you know?
Yeah.
And essentially the engage works because Simply's able to follow up. Yes, Nulty's stronger than the Zac, but he does his job. He finds the engage, gets the CC down. and lets the Viego follow. So jumps on him here, and I think, you know, Singularity feel confident here. They have the equalizer. Aftershock wears off, but like we have the damage. But the CC comes together, which allows this ult to come in. And then the healing from the passive reset means there's no way Fury survives. And I also like this ult over the wall, because you can see Fury's fishing for the shock blast. But because Simply comes over, not only does he get the kill, but there's no chance for the shock blast to come down onto the Zac. No chance to trade in that scenario. And KOVA, we said that the early wasn't massively favored towards them. They found a window and they punished it.
Yeah, really nice as well. And 2 kills onto the Viego as well. Probably the person you'd want to get the gold the most here, other than maybe the Sivir. Going to really accelerate their power as Weasel just gets bopped around a little bit. Bit of a punching bag for Tatooine.
Yeah, and Weasel typically on the Gragas is a kind of good matchup into the set. You can keep him at bay quite comfortably. I'm not a fan of the Grasp in this situation, because you really shouldn't be getting in range of the set, you know?
Yeah.
There are better options to sort of utilize, because that's the thing. The reason why Gragas actually works in the top lane in certain matchups is he just doesn't allow them to even get in range of you ever. Like, there's not a scenario where he can even touch you, and you can run like phase rush in the top lane, and it's like you go in for a trade, you know, you body slam, do your combo, and you run out, and he cannot trade back. So for that reason, I feel like phase rush a lot better than Grasp in this situation. And this actually gives a bit more of a window for Tatooine to actually trade in the lane. So don't really agree with the rune choice in this scenario.
Well, 10 minutes in. Simply, obviously, with those 2 kills, we'll have a gold lead over Fury. But item-wise, we're seeing Noon Quivers coming in the bot lane. It's just mostly components, but Tatooine now got that whip. Means he has pretty solid wave clear. But it can kind of match what Weasel is able to do. Not just be a little bit careful, because Simply is strong.
Yeah, I mean, 2 kills already. Working towards Touchfire and Sundra in a pretty comfortable position. Actually, they are looking for the dive here.
Fury
no flash.
Hasn't got flash. He's going to get interrupted. He's going to get hooked. No, onto the wall. Tiara goes. The equalizer's down. Outlandish being cooked, and Nolty's able to find the kill. Simply looking in for the stun. Gets the Heartbreaker off, and he now has got the ability to get away. Can steal the form as well on the way out. And now he's a Rumble. Although Fury actually feeling it a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, he has to be so careful!
Oh, no. It's a disaster for Singularity. They're losing this mid-jungle 2v2 so hard right now. Credit to Chara for roaming up and make the impact. This is the sort of Chara we saw in spring. Being proactive on the map, roaming and facilitating bot lane.
Nice chains. Can drag Darlan that little bit more damage. No, Stormy's able to flash away.
So close.
Although Prospect might go for a quick scuba dive. Gonna have to land the tongue lash if he's gonna be able to find the kill. Flash, tongue lash, and your pizza.
Goodbye.
Nice. Prospect finds the kill.
Yeah, so good roam window coming out from Chara. Something he did a lot in spring, but Snurmy plays a little bit dangerous. Isn't able to block Piercing Arrow. Now we get the replay here. A bit overextended, you know, under the tower with the equalizer there. It's a little bit whiffed by Nulty even so, but he comes in and toasts them. But then it's just this skirmishing power. You know, you have Viego who has the damage, has the resets, and you have the Nautilus who has the CC. So he locks them in place, and the Viego able to find them. It isn't 2 kills on the Viego, unfortunately. It's on the Naut. But then, yeah, here, Snurmy stepping up without the wave, gets caught. I mean, wouldn't really do anything if you have the wave with the Chains of Corruption coming out of Fog, but then just kind of left a little bit isolated in the bot lane, but even so, needs to be a lot more cautious, needs to wait for Chara to be there to assist so you can step up safely.
Nice stuff overall. KOVA still pretty happy with his game state. They've got the Divine Sunderer now finished up onto Simply. Kraken Slayer for Drag Dart. So this is the attack speed Varus, not the lethality Varus here from him.
And I think that's better here because you look at the composition of KOVA and it's like, who are you poking, you know? Sivir has Spell Shield. Yes, you can poke her outside of that, but like everyone else is just too tanky and you kind of need that sustained damage. And from that point of view, you know, things are going to be tricky in the team fights. When you have these people diving on you, you're not going to have a lot of time to sort of get that sustained damage out. And the fact that we haven't seen so much early momentum from Singularity is a bit worrying. You know, they'll throw the tower, the Herald down mid, they'll get 2 plates, sets them up to sort of expand later. But we're even in gold, despite everything, and Simply's mega fed. So, you know, this needed to have gone a bit better for Singularity, I feel. There's still windows, though. You see, they have 2 dragons stacked up. I will say, if KOVA get Ocean Soul, it's so doomed.
Fury's in trouble, able to dodge away, gets to himself the stun, gets pulled back underneath the tower. He goes, has the flash. Can he find it? No. Simply will steal his form. And it is a killing spree for Simply right now.
And I love this from Outlandish. Just repeatedly dive mid, get the Viegos fed. This champion's so broken on 1v9. And the Jace doesn't really have good tools to deal with this pressure. Nulty doesn't end up, at this point, definitely doesn't win the 2v2 between mid and jungle. So it's kind of just doomed. And if you're losing mid jungle this hard, it's very difficult to apply pressure on the rest of the map.
Really hard. Kraken Slayer now finished up for Snormy as well. Double Dragon, at least for Singularity. They've got that to work with.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It doesn't matter, because if KOVA feel confident to contest that 3rd one, which I think they do at this point, then you just take the 3rd one and you're in a decent spot. You deny the soul coming away. And I feel like, honestly, if KOVA get the soul, it's just so hard to deal with this. There's so much bulk. And I feel like Ocean Soul often comes out ahead when there's a lot of bulk on your team. If you've got tankier members, they're not going to die instantly. They have more time to get the healing. Whereas obviously squishier members, they just get popped so quickly, the healing doesn't necessarily kick in. So good game for Ocean Soul for KOVA, should they be able to secure it. Singularity, not as much, but there's definitely obviously value. But we're just getting a lot of these replays, this mid-jungle 2v2, and Outlandish finding the window with Simply. And Outlandish was interviewed after one of their wins, and he was talking about how he feels Simply is a really powerful mid laner, how we hadn't really seen it throughout the split yet, but very good understanding the game, very big ability to just crush lane. And I like to see that he's, you know, aligning with his words and he's playing around his mid laner.
Yeah, absolutely right. As replays have obviously carried on for a little bit, but we are now out and back into the action. There was a light pause, but Eclipse has now been finished up onto Fury, so he has that to work with. Finally finishing up that Mythic, although Simply now building towards the Blade of the Ruined King.
And things kind of slow after that initial pressure. You see Singularity's bot lane trying to fish for something. They kind of want an in towards the river. And Chara, you could actually be in trouble here.
Yeah, lands the hook on to the wall, so he's able to dash away to safety. 1 minute 50 until the dragon comes up, so probably won't see any action really until then. If Singularity can get that, they'll be 1 away from that Ocean Soul. It'd be a really nice little boost to them. You're pretty early dragon as well, early soul for them anyway.
I think it really comes down to if, you know, Singularity seem like they're fishing for a pick potentially, but it all comes down to KOVA's engage. If they can get on the back line, if they can punish Fury and Dragdar, and particularly if they can start getting resets, KOVA will be in a great spot. Singularity need to keep them at bay. They are applying pressure. This is a dangerous spot to be in.
Yeah, Dragdar instantly caught out, but Prospect gobbles him up. Can they find the stretching strikes? No, the hook lands onto Tiara. She does get the ulti off, and Equalizer's been laid down. Fury's onto the flank for the moment. The slam's coming in, and Tatooine going low. Big punch through into the double kill. Beautiful stuff here from KOVA. Just like that, Singularity are flattened in the fight, and KOVA take it.
I don't know why they would step up to try and contest the tower. You're against the Zac. Like, I know it's been a while since he's really been played, but you have to expect an engage like that. And the Tahm Kench realistically just doesn't do enough. You know, you can gobble the Varus, but he's already been chunked. And then that's 1 pierce in your saving, so it doesn't have enough impact. You can see here, you know, you don't have the vision to do this. The Zac engage, chunks Varus, the Chomp's now down, and it's very easy for KOVA to continue this engage because they have so many tools. They drafted this comp to just engage. We then see Wazer go in, kind of whiffs things, and actually it's Tui on the set who ults to buffer the cask so he doesn't get knocked in. And then just end up getting 2 clean kills. Dragon's still not spawned yet though, but if you actually move towards the river, they have just complete control with this kind of diamond formation of pink wards in the bot side of the river that mean very difficult really to push in. Yeah, so it's just kind of this collection of control wards coming out from KOVA. It means it's very difficult to move in and phase check. You have to respect the dive potential. So Singularity opt to just put pressure on the other side of the map, which I like that. You know, you have decent wave clear from the Gragas. It's kind of hard to dive. So I think doing the cross map idea works. But, you know, Soul was one of the win conditions and you have just lost that dragon.
It's not the end of the world, though, for them to lose that dragon. And the answer will be a turret in this top lane. Dragdar should be able to take this down. So that's first turret blood over to Singularity. Mid lane already kind of early softened up. Thanks to the Herald, but Tatooine's chasing down Fury. Fury tries to dodge away with the Facebreaker. Really nice take to the skies there, actually.
Yep, keeps him at bay, and I was a little bit concerned because I've seen a repeat of Fury getting engaged on in the mid lane, but Tony Tatooine's not really in too much trouble. And yeah, Gragas, pretty comfortable at just thinning the wave out with the barrels, but still has to play it cautious.
We'll see whether or not they can finish this tower up. Stridebreaker will still be on cooldown.
Don't do the same mistake again. No.
They're falling for it twice. They're falling for it twice. The tower goes down, but this time there's a lot of damage coming out as Tatooine slams away to safety, and Dragdar will finish him up. Shut down, picked up for Dragdar. Depth charge knocks up a couple of members, and Tiara now being chased down, slowed by the harpoon. Everfrost isn't going to hit, but a double kill as Dragdar lands the arrow. And this time Singularity turn the players. They can summon the Rift Herald. They've got the waves to work with. This could just be 2 towers here to Singularity.
And the setup just wasn't there for KOVA. Yes, they have the engage tools, multiple of them, but that doesn't mean you can engage alone without your teammates there. You actually see the Herald wasn't needed to take that tower down, so still full HP. Can get this charge, and won't get another charge here. They should be able to kill the Eye, but taking down the inhibitor tower that early, pretty solid. And I think just the ultimate mistake there was KOVA. Even though you have several engage tools, that doesn't mean you should be engaging alone.
Yes, absolutely. I actually think that inhibitor standing is probably the best case scenario for Singularity.
Yeah.
I mean, Stormy's just going to collect waves, right? Otherwise.
Yeah. But taking down those deeper towers definitely opens up the map significantly. That bot lane tower is already low, should be pretty easy to pick up. And you have a 2k gold lead for Singularity, so they're feeling pretty positive overall. We see the Runans come out for the Varus. A lot of value here when you're against 4 melees and a short range carry like Sivir. Able just to consistently fire off those auto attacks and have a decent amount of sustained damage. And I think we've kind of seen those 2 team fights. You know, what happens when Singularity are engaged on heavily and what happens when they're able to protect the backline here. The tower's down, so they have a lot more space. It's only really the Set and the Zac engaging initially. And the Set's dealt with and the Zac's chunked out before the follow-up's there. There's no Sivir in this situation. Simply's very late to join. So just an ambitious engage from KOVA that wasn't well thought through. And I think that's the thing, is you have to be crisp on these engages, because as much as if you have, 4 engage tools, but I guess 3 here, you have the Zac, the Set, and the Nautilus, all 3 of them together make it very difficult for Prosper to keep his carries alive. But if you only use 1 or 2, he's more than comfortable to keep, a target safe.
Down goes the tower. That is the 5th tower now to the side of Singularity. They have slingshotted the gold back into their favor. 2 items on both Fury and Dragdar. No, once that Mirror Mana... Oh, the Mirror Mana is stacked, sorry. So now that's fully stacked. Fury's kind of on his first real major spike. And it's going to be on to KOVA to play this a little bit more reactively now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's still windows for this team. You see an opportunity where Singularity overextended, where they're trying to do a Baron, you can engage. But Singularity are the team with control, and they're definitely trying to maintain it in this situation. Getting a lot of vision on that bot side established for this next dragon, so they can now reset. You can see Prospect and get a full set of wards. Stopwatches across the board, if you actually notice. So everyone has a stopwatch apart from Fury right now. A lot of value in this next team fight, especially you're playing against engaged champions, so the value is just humongous. And they kind of know that this next fight is going to be a bit of a big one around this dragon. Both teams,
it's a very important one. It's a very important one. And if Singularity get a really convincing win, kind of get a full ace with an open inhibitor, they could potentially do some real damage to the base. I don't think they'll be able to close out the game unless they have a massive wave to work with. But they could honestly take a Nexus tower and an inhibitor.
Unless it's a 5-0 and they have a big wave already there, I think they'll probably just go for the Baron. But, it's still Baron pretty threatening. Now, Singularity, you saw KOVA push in, get some wards down in the river, but there was deeper vision from Singularity before they reset, so they have a good idea of where everyone is from KOVA. You see Outlandish going for this flank, and it appears that Singularity aren't too aware, but they are looking for engage here.
Karski's going to land. The chains went out. They didn't quite hit from Dragdar, though. They're simply not going to be able to find himself a catfish. Gets licked on the way out.
You see pings coming out.
You're talking about, the out of vision We could toggle where Outlandish is. He's looking for the opportunity.
Yeah,
but
they know.
Coming
he saw
in.
the pings coming out. They were very aware. Now, Wazer doesn't have the body slam to stop him, but they forced him away, ultimately. That was the goal. They forced him off from the flank. Unfortunately, I think they used up all their wards, so they don't have any left. And this is a problem with an ocean map. There's a lot more brushes you have to try and clear out.
Yeah. Can Outlandish steal this away? He's off in that flank. Probably not even going to attempt it. This is going to be the third dragon over to Singularity. At least for the side of KOVA, they didn't lose a single teammate.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about how bad things could be if they lost that fight, but I think they made the decision not to opt into it. Outlandish got spotted on the flank. They know if they don't get a good coordinated engage, they can end up botching it. And as well, 4 stopwatches, it makes the engaging team's job so much more difficult.
KOVA just clearing out the vision as they actually might find Nulti here. Nulti's kind of isolated. He has got Fury behind him, and that forced a flash out from Nulti, so it makes him somewhat easier to punish in future oversteps.
And the thing is, you know, I mean, it's difficult because Prospect kind of needs to babysit Dragdar as well. But this is why you should be moving with your support. So particularly with something like a Tom Kent, you have that extra level, that safety net, so he can gobble you out of those engages. But realistically, I think that scenario probably going to burn Flash regardless. Both teams pretty even. Still 2k gold lead for Singularity, and they have the 2 dragon advantage. And now KOVA looking to posture for this mid lane tower.
I think they might just be able to get this one. Dragdar's going to try his best to clear out the way, throws out the chains and does us a lot of damage as the stopwatch is used. Wazel's coming in onto the flank. Cast goes down into the hook, simply being chased, being cut. Heartbreak is away to safety as Prospect gobbles up Dragdar, and Outlandish bounces away to safety, but they just continue the onslaught of damage, and KOVA will be able to survive for now.
Yeah, a bit of a split engage from KOVA. Weren't really able to find the execution. Really, it was Singularity the ones applying pressure there. And you can see Outlandish jumps in, Dragdar gets pulled to safety, but no one really finds any footing in that. But Singularity are the ones with the control of the Baron area.
They're setting up a potential death rush here, but it does look like KOVA go, you know what? We got that ward in the pit. We know you're not doing it. We know your game plan. And they're just going to play a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more chill for now.
Critical thing there, Tatui did use his teleport, so Wazel getting comfortable to be in the side lane. I think KOVA might start up the Baron here, or at least get control of the vision, as that might force a TP from Wazel coming in. They know it's being started.
Yeah, they know it started, but they haven't actually got their Gragas here. He does have teleports. He's going to come in. Outlandish looks for Dragdar. They haven't got the ability to bail him out, and he has to stop once they're going to pull him in. Great gobble by Prospect. Spits Dragdar back out. They're going to lose the form of the Zac. Zac Blob's getting cooked by Nulti. Nulti able to find the kill as Wazel has bought all the time he needs to flash forward, and this is the tidy up for Singularity. Only 2 for KOVA stand.
And that's going to be the Baron. Singularity doing a great job of disengaging. Credit to these stopwatches. Dragdar uses a stopwatch. Prospect then jumps in, gobbles him, throws his own stopwatch down. There just wasn't a window for the engage to work. And again, we saw the engage a little bit scattered, a little bit divided from KOVA, so they weren't able to find the window. The attempt was there, but just not able to find success. And Singularity playing the front to back beautifully there to secure that Baron. They now have a 5,000 gold lead with Soul coming up. And we'll get the replay, so fight starts out, jump comes in on Dragdar, he stopwatches to buy time, so the follow-up's not there. Prospect then runs over, gobbles him, stopwatches as well, during the time that Zac dies to Jace. So again, buying tons of time, and at this point, the Gragas is forcing the backline away, and the follow-up just wasn't really there for the team fight. They kind of try to push into that choke, and it's very difficult to do that against things like the Rumble, like the Gragas, and as a result, they couldn't find that coordinated engage. I think with compositions like this, the ideal thing you want is a flank, and because KOVA didn't find one, it just really couldn't deliver on the fact that Dragdar was a little bit out of position.
Oh, now Singularity with the Baron in their pocket. 1 minute until Dragon. If they do get caught out, it could be problematic for them. But it looks like KOVA not actually really willing to meet them. And that could cost them a lot of structures. Singularity just bolting through here. With the double ADs, they're going to be able to melt through these structures. Prospect's going to do his best to zone Tatooine. The tower goes down, and Singularity can just continue to zone, continue to try and go for this. As visibility's out, chain comes out by Dragdar, does hit onto Tiara as Tatooine tries to jump forward, but slowed down from the lick from Prosper. Now, Prosper is cut off from the rest of the team, but does have the Abyssal Voyage,
Yeah,
so
he's
he'll
coming in.
rejoin on the far flank. Really nice stuff by Singularity, honestly.
Yeah, and they reposition. KOVA has to deal with the waves. They can now just move down towards the dragon and try and regain control. They still have decent vision there. There's a couple of areas, you know, that control ward and the stealth ward you see off to the left side of the screen. Now comes down to the contest for this. Chains of Corruption is down right now, but as is the Sivir ultimate. And again, KOVA, we're looking for flanks on the back line, but it might be pretty tricky with his gold deficit.
Well, Weasel finds Outlandish, catches him with the Everfrost. A lot of damage will be coming in. A cast to disengage the rest of his team as Outlandish is getting cooked by the Equalizer. Meanwhile, Tatooine being zoned away by Fury, and Fury just continues the hunt. The Shot Blast hits, and that's the Sterix popped as Prosper now licking and just slowing the members of KOVA down. Snormy, it's a massive Shot Blast, and Fury takes to the skies to take him out. Only 3 members of KOVA remain.
And it's just not even a fight. I wouldn't even call that a team fight. That's just Singularity dealing with the options. Really well played to find Outlandish on that flank, shut him down, and then KOVA kind of just fell apart. And we typically praise them in spring. Very much we praise KOVA for the team fighting, but Singularity have understood that and are able to match it. And realistically, should just pick up this goal and be in a really comfortable spot.
That's just going to make these fights even harder for KOVA. Not really rocking any anti-heal. I mean, not rocking any other than Outlandish right now, so it's just going to make this a little bit harder for them to deal with. Now, 30 minutes on the clock. Singularity got himself a pretty significant gold lead. The GA's now been finished up for Dragdar, so he's feeling extra safe. You got this, the Grudge on to Fury. They're at a strong point. Baron spawning up in another 2 minutes, so a bit more time to work with, but with 2 inhibitors down, Singularity can just kind of group in the top side, keep Fury just to clear the waves for the team, and make sure that the super minions continue to be a threat, and then they can just look to siege the base from there.
And really, KOVA need to engage. We've been saying this whole game, but they need to engage, and ideally they need simply to start getting resets. If they take down a member quickly, they can chain it together, but they've been struggling to do so far. Obviously, Tom Ken's not a great target. Stopwatch on Fury, double Zonyas on the top and jungle, and then GA on Dragdar. It's difficult to get that initial kill, and if you're not getting that initial kill, simply just isn't getting the value of these team fights. They need to engage. You can see them hunting for a flank here, but Singularity seem pretty aware and already have some vision down.
Well, they're making sure Wazor's kind of body blocking any flanks through the jungle, so Dragdar can't be caught. That's going to be the last tower outside of the base crumbling to Singularity. And KOVA, it's really on them to find that engage. They have the tools in their champs, but the denial from Singularity is there, and Outlandish has to elastic slingshot over the wall, and Dragdar slowly but surely just making his way through the tower. Tiara comes in onto the flank, hooks onto Prosper as they protobelt forward. Tiara getting cooked, he's down. The slam is there as they find the suppress, but instantly finding the double up. As this could be the fight for KOVA. The equalizer, not particularly great, but a great kill by Dragdar. He's found himself the triple kill, maybe looking for the resurrection, maybe looking for the quadra kill here. As that is going to be simply going down. Nulty will take it with a flame spitter, and Singularity just wiping 4 of KOVA off the map. And there is not a structure left defending them between the Nexus towers now. Only Outlandish remains. The death timers are way too long on the carries. And Fury just makes sure he gets a little bit of poke on the fountain. 31 minutes on the clock, and Singularity, it was a questionable start to the game. Definitely a shaky start. But man, did they pull this back.
Absolutely, the team fighting is so stellar, and against a composition with so many engaged tools, able to mitigate it. I do think KOVA definitely had some issues with sort of coordinating everything, but honestly, the bot lane here, Dragdar and Prosper have had some rougher moments earlier this split, but they were on point, never giving a window to the other side, and Dragdar was just able to do so much damage on the more, auto attack based Varus. Really strong performance to just sort of round out the day.
It was nice to see the on-hit Varus as well, because it's mostly been lethality.
No one likes poke Varus. No one likes lethality Varus.
It's boring.
Even people who play lethality Varus don't like lethality Varus. The only people who like lethality Varus are people playing ARAMs, right? So just get rid of it, nerf it until it's in the bin, and then we could just have normal Varus again.
No, I agree. I agree. Although Trouble's currently chatting to us saying fire orc, so apparently she's a bit of a lethality Varus fan, but at the same time, she's also a Katarina main, so her opinion's kind of null and void on that one. Anyway,
yeah, I mean,
I'm going to pass
that's
it over to Scoundrel to break down the rest of the day. So, Scoundrel, over to you.